Hello, I'm Jim Pullen of Surrogate Sons and Daughters. Are you or a loved one facing the decision to move to assisted living? As we age, we can't do it alone, and a little help can make the difference to maintain independence. Surrogate Sons and Daughters are here to help. Plainly, we are stand-in sons and daughters for hire, advocates to help you age in place. Learn more about us at surrogatesonsanddaughters.com or call me, Jim, at 603-688-7399. That's 603-688-7399.
Hi, I'm Dr. Ryan Pratt, owner of 603 Chiropractic, and I believe that you are designed to be healthy. In fact, health is normal. Sickness is abnormal. Health is defined as optimal function, and function is regulated by your brain and spinal cord. Your spine is like your suit of armor for your spinal cord. And when it's not healthy, this can produce pain and various other symptoms. As a chiropractor, I've helped thousands of people go from unhealthy to healthy and pain-free by simply improving the health of their spine. If you're living with chronic pain, or if you feel like you're dragging yourself across the finish line every day, set up a consultation to learn more about how we can help. You can book online at 603chiros.com or call 603-935-5478 and set up your consultation today. Don't put your health on hold. It's your greatest asset. Visit 603chiros.com today.
The views and opinions of the following show do not reflect those of WSMN, its owners, and/or associates.
Lisa and Robyn are two fun friends diving deep into conversations where nothing is taboo. They believe in eating dessert before dinner and wearing the bikini. They're allergic to labels, authority, and cheap shoes. Currently, they're launching themselves through life being the good time, bold enough to take risks and inquisitively asking, what's next? They hail from New Hampshire, but they could be anywhere dressed in cute clothes. If they had to share a tombstone, it would read, "Curiosity killed these cats." Your hosts, Lisa and Robyn on the mic.
Welcome to Lisa and Robyn on the mic on a Friday. We are pre-recording this show, so we are here twice in 1 week. Welcome to Lisa and Robyn on the mic on WSMN 1590 AM, 95.3 FM, and you can watch, stream, and listen on WSMN.live. We are live on Facebook and YouTube, and we are here on a Friday. Normally we're 10 a.m. to noon on a Thursday, so this feels special.
Yes, it does.
How are you doing?
Coming in hot like a train wreck. I was going to say.
Well, this will make you feel so much better. Yesterday, I was looking at trying to cut the pauses out of the video portion of our show, and I got up and I had my right flap of my blazer tucked into my pants in the back. So you can't.
Hey, at least it wasn't a dress, right?
It wasn't a dress, right? But I watched myself walk. I'm like, what? Oh my goodness.
Well,
I came back from the bathroom and it was okay.
I was listening to some of them, but then you texted me last night. I don't know, it was like 9:30 or something. I was kind of dozing off, and I read it, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense to me, because it was so far out of my mind about that, and I was like,
what is she talking about?
Maybe she's just texting somebody else. And then it dawned on me like 15 minutes later. I was like, oh, she was looking at the show.
Yeah.
Because I was listening to it in the car, and I had looked at it a couple of different times, like when I was listening to it making dinner, but I wasn't like watching.
Mm-hmm. So I was looking at trying to how to get those 7 blank minutes out.
Yes.
And so I was in that space trying to see if I knew what to do about editing, because I have Adobe, and I thought, wonder if I could do this in Adobe. And so I looked at it a whole bunch of times, and I said, that just about sums stuff up right there. A little bit of tucked into your pants when you're not supposed to be tucked into your pants.
Yeah, we have those.
At least it wasn't toilet paper on my
That's
shoe.
True. On your shoe, yes.
I've had that.
Oh my goodness, we just watched Gran Turismo last night. We watched it for the second time. It is such a great movie.
Is this the one where the kids, they take people who can actually play the game?
Yes.
And make them actual race car drivers?
Yes.
I think that sounds super fun.
They say it's a driving simulator. It's not a game.
Okay.
No, that's their hashtag thing.
Just the way pilots had that. We had a video game for pilots that was Flight Simulator. That's what it was called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the guy who the gamer, it said he had gone on to win like 200 and some races and stuff. So he's actually staying in the driving
arena
circuit or wherever it is.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I woke up and I was like, oh, my day is so organized. I ran to the store. I had to get cat food and, a couple of things, just a few things. And then Kayla's going to come back. And I was like, my day's planned. I don't really have anything. And then as soon as she left, I just got discombobulated. I just was out of sorts. I'm like, I'm going to leave this time. I'm going to stay. I'm going to do the new way from my house. Didn't work. I got out there. I got out. I'm taking Continental Boulevard, so I'm going to get on exit 10 to go, I don't know.
Amherst Street down to...
Well, I was going to take exit 10, and then I was going to take exit 6.
Oh, okay.
Off of,
yes, okay,
what is
I
that,
understand.
93?
Route
or
3.
Route 3.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so my GPS is telling me exit 7, so I'm like, okay, no, that's not it. I need to stay and get the next one. And this car is just riding... It's like he's playing a game with me.
Mm-hmm.
So I slow down, and then he speeds up. Anyway, long story short, he kept doing that, and the more I'd slow down, the more that he would slow down. He wasn't going to let me over, and I was in the far left lane, so I missed I missed the exit 6. I had to come in exit 5, and go through the hospital and
Maybe
drive.
he thought you were flying in formation.
I don't know.
You know how pilots...
Yes.
You need approval in planes to fly in formation with someone. For this reason, I'm trying to get over. I'm not letting you get over. I'm trying to get over. I'm flying with you. I'm trying to get over. Get out of my way.
I know. And I'm like, I put I had time. I was going to wear a different outfit. And then I got these boots. And then I'm like, nope, I got to do this. And I feel a little bit hippie-ish today, a little bit bohemian Friday. And like, yeah, I'm going to do that. Then I'm like, these are bad shoes to walk in, bad shoes to run in. Took a cute selfie. And then as soon as it just like unraveled.
Well, I put on probably 3 or 4 different outfits before I settled in this one because I felt like every outfit wasn't working.
Yes.
And I had said to my sexy spouse, I said, it's like this closet's not mine.
Yes.
That's the way I felt. Everything I put, is this my clothes? Is this my shirt?
Yes.
Is this my pants? Is this my
Nothing
skirt?
felt comfortable or familiar or like, yes, that's going to make me feel good. Or,
Yeah.
yep, I want to wrap my body in that.
So I think it's a universal thing that's happening today, not just you.
Well, so I was at such a great thing. And then I'm driving here and I'm like, my heel is getting stuck on the little, like in the tread on the floor mat. I'm trying to get that unstuck, and I get every stoplight, and I'm like, man, I am a dumpster fire right now. And I'm like, I don't really know what dumpster fire means, but I like that word.
Yeah, it means a somewhat contained disaster. That's what I think. A dumpster fire is somewhat contained, where I think a hot mess.
Yes.
It is hot and it's a mess, and you can't grab it because it's hot, so it's going to continue to be a
Well,
mess.
I think I am a hot mess. Either that or a train wreck.
No, you're neither. You're neither.
You know what? I didn't do anything today. I did out of my norm, even though it was calm and peaceful.
You weren't in your routine.
I didn't do anything to ground myself.
Mm.
I didn't do any of my reading. I didn't do any exercise. I didn't do any yoga, nothing to like, hey, let's just take care of Robyn for a minute. And now it's coming out. I'm like, I had such a nice day. And I was busy and I was being productive.
But at 2:12, when you're on Lisa and Robyn on the mic, on WSMN,
Yes.
1590 AM, 95.3 AM, you feel like a dumpster fire because it all finally caught up with you that you didn't ground.
Yes.
Well, I have this lovely book that I tend to like books that have something that you go back to them every day and you can read them again. I have the 365 Tao meditations, and every day you reflect, you have a meditation on a different word. There's 365 of them. And so I've done that over and over. Now, I've done it once every day, but then after that, I'll just like pick it up halfway through the month or I'll look up a specific word. And there's a book called The Daily Calm, and it takes pictures, beautiful, beautiful pictures, and puts nice phrases next to them. And there's one for every single day of the year. So today's is how truly a kind heart, a fountain of gladness, making everything in its vicinity freshen into smiles. And that is Washington Irving is the person to quote that. But the whole month of February is joy.
I love it.
The whole month of January is transitions. So it has different themes for the month, and then every quote goes on those themes.
Well, that makes sense. Transitions, new year, new beginning. Joy is, February. We all talked about how, winter months are miserable.
And we have Valentine's Day in there, so I think,
Yeah.
how do you get into love without being in joy?
So are you big on Valentine's?
No.
Me either.
And I never was, not just because, when someone says the Hallmark holiday, it's like a day for raping people to prove that you love them. So
Yes.
roses that normally cost $30 now cost $200. And every year John buys them for me. And I tell him, please don't buy me roses on Valentine's Day. Because every year the quality of them gets worse and worse. Last year's never opened. And I know he spent a fortune on them. Like, buy me tulips from the... I love tulips. Tulips are my favorite flower.
Or rose with the bulb.
Yes. Yeah, that's another. But roses aren't my favorite flower. I like them occasionally, and I like them in other things, but I'm not a big rose person.
Yes.
But what's really funny is I'm thinking one year he didn't buy me roses. One year he bought me 50% of the cost of roses in tulips, and I just had multiple dozens and dozens and dozens of tulips, which to me just felt extraordinary and decadent, and I felt loved because it was the thing I really liked, not the thing that they said you have to get to prove.
Yes.
But you work in a corporate environment. Did your sexy spouse send you roses? He doesn't love you if he hasn't sent you roses to your work. Your marriage is over. It's over.
I know. It's over.
And then,
I don't.
And then if you don't make reservations for dinner 17 months in advance,
Yes.
You have to go and do that. And so I prefer show me that you love me all the time, or when I'm least expecting it. I don't care about
Yes.
the day where I'm required to be told that I'm loved today. I'm not subscribing to that.
I agree. I'd rather have, clothes or jewelry. If you're going to buy me anything, I'd rather have clothes or jewelry or one flower. Or spend the evening. I don't even care if we go out. If I didn't have to make dinner, that would be a bonus.
Right.
I'm done cooking. I feel like I've done my time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love food and I like putting things together, but like everyday meals, staples, I'm kind of like,
Well, Chris said to me after the chicken parm meal, he said, I like cooking when when I'm going to cook, I like it and I like the process and I think it's enjoyable and delicious and blah, blah, blah. But the day-to-day of it, I just can't even fathom it.
yes.
And so he said, I really appreciate, that you're banging this out and we're going out. You know?
I mean, I had a production. I had 5 of us for dinner, and I actually sliced. Well, after I pounded my chicken, I sliced it in half to make them smaller, just smaller pieces
To manage in the oil.
Yeah. So then I fried them. I laid them on their baking rack and let them drip dry and all that stuff. And they came out pretty. And I started doing like a little video reel. I was gonna I'll post this in the Daily Fork, and totally forgot to take a picture when I
Was done.
plated it. It's like, well, there goes all that energy.
You just do the empty one. Was delicious.
It's true. True.
This was delicious. There's no even evidence it existed. Oh, but one of the things Chris said was, you did all of that work and we were done in under 12 minutes.
Yeah. He says that a lot. And he's like, wow, that's a lot especially when he comes in and helps. And I think my problem now is I don't like my kitchen. And
So you don't feel organized in it as a space?
it's not my energy space. It doesn't flow anyway. Even though I have the drawers set up and the dishes and stuff set up pretty much where I would work, it's just not functional. It's not functional for me. I don't like the colors. I don't like the dark. I don't like the dark cabinets. And then I've got all my appliances, my new appliances sitting downstairs, and I have my vision of my kitchen. And so it's a matter of time. But I'm in there by myself making dinner, and I don't like that space. So it's kind of like, hurry up and get out. I don't feel like, hey, this is my palette and I'm here to create.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
that's the one thing I've learned about myself is my space is very important. It's critical to me.
Right.
I just get flustered and sideways or anxious, or I have a sense of dread going into it.
Yeah. Well, I think that I've said this a million times, and I'll probably say it a million more times, but if your home, the space that you're calling home, whether it's a rental or a house or a hotel room for 3 months, whatever it is, if that space does not feel comfortable and functional, you will be not functional and uncomfortable.
Yes.
Because I'm a person whose my environment is I'm very sensitive to my environment.
Me too.
And one of the things that I always get the most frustrated with is when my environment is out of control, like to a certain degree. I can handle a certain amount of chaos because I'm not going to, if I could have someone file for me, if I could have someone, my office always has piles. My piles of files for miles.
Piles of
in my
files
office.
for miles.
And then, the pantry looks, I'm hopefully working on the pantry, but I've come home from the supermarket and I've just been to 2 or 3 different supermarkets to get everything I need. I've got all the bags in the house. I feel like I've been on a quest for, 3 months to search out for tea. Why don't you just put me on a boat and send me for coffee? Like, I feel like an English person, like, we'll be back in the spring with spices, and I set off for the high seas, and I fight white whales and I come back with tea. Like, that's how I feel like the supermarket is lately sometimes for some reason.
Yes.
But in that, and then I get home and now I'm supposed to organize everything and put it away. I'm like flinging everything, just like closing the door. Like, everything is in this cabinet. Everything is.
Deal with that tomorrow.
Sometimes I just throw half full bags of the stuff that I'm going to keep downstairs for extras, pastas. And I just throw it on the stairs. I don't even put it away downstairs for 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, I'll take it down.
I'll do it later. I've had enough of this experience.
Yes, I feel the same way. And so I think that I notice that I don't feel that way when people are in the kitchen hanging out and talking to me.
Yes, because you have company.
Then I can change the energy. But even sometimes when I even just sometimes I'll put on classical, or sometimes we have this Latin. It's not really dance. It's Viva España something. I probably butchered that, but on Spotify, and it's just such a great, happy, just flow. Makes me think that I'm on vacation. Yes. And then I'm like, then I want a margarita, and like, who cares about cooking? But
I always used to joke that at parties, people were like, why aren't you drinking? It's like, if I drink, the food's not coming out. We're all getting pizza at the end of it. We want me sharp for having all of this come out at the same time so that we're not waiting for potatoes. We ate everything and then the potatoes come out, or, I need to be on to orchestrate this. I can't orchestrate this from any kind of relaxed, happy, who cares mentality.
Yes. Okay. So I was thinking on the way home after our show yesterday, and you're like, what do we call? Well, remind me to tell you after the show. I don't want to say it on live radio. We had initials for Chris, TW for one. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you later. But so we will refer to him now as Big D.
Big D.
I used to always call him Big Daddy. And he's like, what?
I love it. He's Big Daddy.
So, and then first time I said it, and his sister was like, what? I'm like, it's Daddy.
Yeah. Don't everyone get their mind out of the gutter.
So it's Big D. I'm going to try to remember that.
Yeah. Well, if I start saying sexy spouse enough, you will.
But sexy spouse doesn't roll off my tongue.
It doesn't roll off my either. That's what makes me conscientious to say.
So I was gonna say I was gonna say something. I'm like, I was
gonna call him Beefcake.
Beefcake. I like that
because he's Beefcake to me. Yes. I love him. Like, he's beefy.
Or I could just hear you saying, shorten it. What'd you say?
No, that's
no spouse. Yeah, just saying, hey, sexy.
Yeah,
Mr. Sexy.
Mr. Sexy. He could be. Maybe he's a different thing every time. And people are like, how many people is she married to?
That's true.
Just like I call the cat 7 different names.
Yes.
He gets 7 different names.
Yes.
I think we should come up with new ones every week.
Oh, Lord. Whew.
We'll be very busy.
Yes. With that, I'm trying. We'll put it out there for sure. But talking about chaos and
rituals.
Yes.
Routines.
And just organized how our kitchen, all that stuff. I know for me.
So I will tell you, I feel very good in the octagon today.
Yes, I do too. I actually was listening to our voices, and I'm like, man, I love the sound of your voice.
I love the sound of your voice too, and I just love because it's round. I love round rooms. I actually had an apartment that had this as the living room, and it was bigger, and I felt very contained and closed and comfy and confined, and in a good way, not confined in a bad way, but perfectly. My environment was contained into this perfect space, and it's not square. There's no, so this roundness. So if you ever get to see us,
snuggling in with a warm blanket.
Yes, and so I'm in here and I'm feeling very good because after seeing the thing tucked into my blazer, tucked into my pants, I thought, wow, how vulnerable to be that, to not have the microphone in front, to not have the, it just felt like, wow, that was I don't know, and then I come back in here, and I didn't necessarily feel vulnerable yesterday out there, but today coming in here, I'm like, oh, this feels better.
It does. It feels cozy and contained, like you snuggling in under a warm blanket.
Yes.
And just, in the afternoon time, too. It's kind of like,
I know, I really do like the
maybe
afternoon.
on Friday, people are starting to slow down, and like they're thinking about their mind spaces.
And having a good time over the weekend.
The weekend has come. I get some freedom. And here's a random thought, talking about freedom. I was thinking last night, like, who watches the Emmys or the Grammys?
I don't know, but
do they do that anymore? Even
they
after
do,
COVID?
and they just had it because someone said, "Oh, did you see Tracy Chapman at the Emmys or Grammys, whatever it is?" And I said, "Oh no, I didn't even know they still did that."
I know, I didn't either. But I was thinking about how ridiculous is that? Like, everything that we've been talking about is like, elevating ourselves and stepping out and having the courage to go get your dreams, to go fight for your dreams. And I was thinking, like, at the Grammys, all we're doing is we're sitting there and celebrating all these people that made it famous.
Mm-hmm.
Or athletes, and we're supporting them, we're clapping and applauding them. And I'm like, it's like,
who applauds us?
Well, it's like we're all these little minions, and it's like, yay, they got out. It's like we're all just celebrating because they took a chance on themselves.
And they did it, yay.
I know, it's like, yay, and we're still down here. We're all just squawking. So that's what it made me think about is like, they're standing up on this big stage, and we're all these little minions down there just clapping like, yay, look, they've got it. They got their freedom or their dream or whatever it is. And I was like, yeah, well, shoot, if that doesn't kind of light a fire under me. And I was thinking, how do I show up? Am I actually living my best life? Like I think I do.
I will tell you this. There's never only one flavor of it.
That is
you
true.
can be having a fantastic day, and the next day you're like, what is happening? I have a beautiful closet filled with gorgeous clothes. Today, it was like, whose closet is this? This isn't my closet. These aren't my clothes. So there's always the variation and fluctuation of that. But I do think it's a perfect topic to go into. You asked me what I wanted to talk about, and I wanted to talk about the word accumulation. And the obvious thing is, I see it in my business all the time. I think about it all the time. Most everybody says when they're moving, how do I have so much stuff? Whose stuff is this?
Right.
How do I have so much stuff? Because you don't think you have a lot of stuff until you try to put it all in boxes and pick it up and move it somewhere else. Then it feels like a ton of stuff. Even when you have that little 1-bedroom apartment.
Yes.
And you're thinking, and I know this because people move out of apartments and leave 3 things behind. And the landlord always says, why would they leave whatever? Because they've had enough of moving.
Right.
They've had enough of their stuff. They don't.
Or
They
tired
stop
of
caring
moving that
about
one particular piece of thing from life
place to place.
Yeah, from chapter to chapter.
From chapter to chapter. And the other piece of it was, so we could easily talk about the amassing more, the continue and repeated addition of things, collections of Hummels. You could talk about it that way, but I would love to talk about accumulation as it comes to ideas, opinions, our health, our labels, our problems and our victories, even connections.
That's good.
So even though I could talk for 2 hours alone about the accumulation of stuff.
Yes.
I will just refer you to George Carlin's comedy show. Go on YouTube, type in George Carlin stuff. It was applicable that day as it was every single day since, and even more so today. It's a great comedy thing, and that's going to be the best thing to talk about your actual stuff. We want to talk about the accumulation of your life.
Yeah.
The older you get, the more you're accumulating. You can be accumulating amazing friends. I feel like I'm at this point in my life, I've accumulated really great people because the people
Quality.
Because the people who haven't been have fallen out.
Yes.
And I think of the accumulation of ideas, good and bad. My ideas, others' ideas.
That's true.
Opinions. I've accumulated opinions. Are they mine? Some of them are unwanted, maybe. But I just thought that would be great.
I think that's awesome. And when you're talking about accumulation, it makes me think about that analogy I was trying to do. It was like, if we are a source of light, if we're a source of energy, and our light is supposed to radiate out, and we have all these things in the environment that are like those magnets. Do you remember as a kid when you were growing up? I think it was like a bald man, and it's on those it was the magnet, and you had to take the pen and you draw his beard and you draw his hair.
Yes.
We think about all those things, or those are words. Those are the words and the things that we accumulate from other people. It's the stresses and the anxiety and the pressures and, all of our experiences that have negative. And the more that we take that magnet, the more that those little magnet things are attracting, our light dims. And it's like, so.
Almost because we have a covering.
Yes.
So I had a friend say something, and I wrote back to her, it's important to chisel off everything that's not the real us.
Yeah.
And so that's perfect when you're
Yeah.
saying, because you're covering yourself, almost like a magnet's pulling all of
Yeah.
this other stuff, and then you're buried underneath.
So think about, like, how a magnet, when you put them on the right sides, they'll attract each other. And so you think about that as if you are that light source, that you're the base magnet, and all those things are attracting. The goal is to be able to be on the opposite side of the magnet, and so you're just repelling all of those things, not allowing.
Yes.
But in order to have that happen, I think that we have to declutter. We have to take stock in what we've accumulated.
Yes. And has the stuff that we accumulated, do we still need it?
Right. Letting go of things. It was funny. I was like, wow. When you said that, I'm like, okay, I got to process this. And I was like, do I have enough to talk about for accumulation for, 2 hours? Because I was like, absolutely not. Because I'm, triple A type personality. I don't like stuff. I don't like clutter. And I think I think I'm a good person about, like, oh yeah, I don't keep clutter. I don't like this, and I don't have appliances sitting on my counter. I don't have
4,000 decorative pillows that you keep amassing every time you go to Marshall's. You buy more
Well, I
pillows.
do have a lot of pillows, but thank God we've got closets, so we can change those out. But yes, I think we have like 15, 16 on our bed. 18 if you count the two at the bottom that are on the bench. Yeah. So could I get rid of those? Yes. Do I want to? No. It's probably not one of those things that's dragging me down.
Yeah. You don't mind making your bed and putting them on.
But I think that I try to live my life because I'm an organized person. So I don't like to walk in and the drawers are cluttered. We have a little sitting area off of our bedroom, and I like to put the pillows back at night before I go to bed, because when I get up in the morning, I like to see that as a clean space. The chandelier's there, the big windows are there, and you're just seeing that, and I want the picture of neat, orderly, and tidy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so I try to live my life that way, and so when we went to move from our old house to this house, I could not believe the stuff that we had accumulated, because my thinking was, all right, we don't need 800 towels. We don't need, 5 sets of sheets for every bed in every room. I'm like, okay, 2 sets of sheets for everybody. Because 9 times out of 10, we wash the sheets and put them right back on.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, I'm going to minimize all of that. And we gave away tons and tons and tons of stuff. So even I was like, made me step back and think, wow, I really do actually accumulate things more than I
think you do.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, then what else can I do? It actually is satisfying when you get rid of it. You do feel lighter.
I love spring cleaning.
Cleaner. Yes.
I love spring cleaning because I do it twice a year because I kind of move clothes around.
Mm.
And I don't do it 4 times a year because, it's 50 degrees out in January. You're still going to need a spring or fall thing
Right.
because of the timing and the weather. But I like I'm not wearing shorts at the moment.
Yes.
So I can put that stuff away. but I like to go through and see where am I using my space properly, where am I not using my space properly, and I'm not pretending that I have it dialed in because I'm constantly changing things just a little bit. But for a long time, I felt like my spare bedroom was a waste of space because no one slept in it.
Yes. I would take that closet in a heartbeat.
So I did use that closet for my stuff. It's like, well, I don't have to separate too much. I can keep some stuff there and some stuff there. So I did utilize that closet better. And I also made sure that when someone's watching my pet, I deck out that room, right? I've got my new sheets. I've got the flower candles. I've got my Buddha statue. I've got 2 racks of books, these 2 bins of various books, so people who sleep over to take care of my cat can rifle
that's a great
through
idea.
magazines. I've made this little space like as a little hotel room.
Yeah.
And now I feel like, okay, that's not a waste of space because it's going to be utilized multiple times a year. Someone's going to sleep in there, and it's going to feel like they're on vacation in my home taking care of my cat. That's how I do that. But I constantly try to look at what's working well and what's not working well. And is this space being utilized the way it should be utilized? For a lot of people have their kids' room and their kids moved out 10 years ago. Do you need that to be a yoga studio? Do you need that to be an office? Do you need that to be your podcast room? Do you need that to be a sewing room? Are we using our space, which is very valuable, properly? And do we feel good in that space? Like you're feeling in your kitchen. You don't want to feel that way in your home. You don't want to dread the spaces in your home. And when I think of, like I said, I could talk for 2 hours every day about environments, and I do in my real estate business. When I'm advising people, when we used to do flips, I don't know if we'll start doing them again, but when we used to do that, this space isn't functional.
Right.
The reason why no one else wanted this is because this space doesn't work. Let's make this a space.
Yeah.
Let's put the vision that people don't know. What should this room be? We're going to make a space for this. We're going to make it so that this becomes people's favorite room.
Yeah, I think I do believe that everybody is affected by their space.
Yes.
They just don't have it. The level of awareness is variable, I guess. Because you were just telling me the other day, and I've heard you say it multiple times, selling properties. You could have the exact 2 same units. One is staged or just orderly, and the other one is empty, and they'll buy the one that's staged.
Or one has a ton of crap around in it, and people haven't been. And I know this sounds awful, but mattresses on the floor have a different feeling than mattresses on bed frames or a platform or something. A mattress on a floor has a very weird vibe for people, although they don't know it's a weird vibe for people. But they'll go in and go, that space is really small. It doesn't whatever. And it's like, it was a king bed. It was just on the floor.
Yeah.
So some people like me, and probably you, can go in and be like, I don't care what's in this space. I know what the space could be.
Yes.
Not everybody is that. Not everyone's that visual. They need the visual to be there for them to understand. And that's why when you look at all these magazines, everything's this white on gray on pale white because it's airy and open. But you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, we do live that way. People are buying white couches and white rugs. Right? But then at the same time...
Are you cursing me?
No, I'm not cursing you. But I remember my mother used to talk my whole entire childhood about, I can't wait to have white carpets. And I was like, yeah, but who's going to live here? Because we can't walk on them. And she's like, that's kind of the point, is that I don't have anyone around me. And I remember years later, we hadn't spoken for almost 15 years. And she, I reached out because I was like, all right, enough is enough. This is silly. Let's try to... she's my only mother. I'm her only kid. Like, let's try to do this. And she said, one of the first things she said to me was, I finally have my white carpet. And I was like, good for you. And you notice you're alone.
Right. And how's the quality of your life?
Yeah. And you're alone and no one, but to her.
Now you can roll naked on your car. Hope it's shag and not Berber.
But this brings another point up about, we used to have china for when people came over, but no one came over.
Yes.
So when you tell me...
And on special occasions.
You have to have a reason that makes sense. If you tell me I have to clean my room in case people come over, that's not a real reason because no one ever comes over.
Right.
Now, if I need to clean my room, right? I need to clean my room because we need to have clean, orderly spaces for health and sanitary reasons, as well as your life will be so much better because you'll be more organized and you won't be looking for
Yes.
your book to get to school, and you won't have stress because of that. Well, that's a different reason to say clean your room. Why aren't we using this china? Because we only use that for when people come over. It's the good china, but no one ever comes over. So let's use the china.
Yes.
Let's enjoy
Yes.
it. It's not like, well, it's very special, but we do have people come over and we use it during that special time. So we're adding an extra layer of value that makes it special.
Right.
No, no one ever comes over. Nothing special.
Right. It's just they were really expensive, and we're going to use those for and save those for a rainy day or special occasion. And
But when my mother left, we used that. We used the dining room that we never used. It was a room we never used because we never entertained. My father used that as his office.
Yep.
And we ate on chipped china because we were chipping it in the dishwasher because
Right,
you couldn't
yes.
dishwash it, right?
yes.
But
Yes.
accumulating an idea, that's the perfect idea. This is for special when people come over. Well, do people come over? It's one thing if they do, and it's
Right.
well, that was something my mother did. When the good people come over, but your mother entertained. But you took that accumulated belief system, the accumulated ideas that weren't yours.
Yeah, I think it comes from and we're all guilty of it. So
Yes, absolutely.
of a lack-minded mentality. It comes from, a lack of instead of an abundance. Instead of looking at the things that I do have, and man, I am so fortunate to have this china. It is a precious gift, but a gift should be used. And it took me a long time because I think we're all programmed that way. We're all, we always had, my mom would always say, when you get home from school, change out of your school clothes and go get your play clothes on. And, it was those were things that you got to keep those nice and you keep those. Yes, it is teaching you to take care of your stuff. And of course, I wouldn't paint in a Versace dress, but at the same time, I'm not going to save it for a rainy day either, because tomorrow may never come.
Mm-hmm.
And I have this, beautiful diamond necklace, or I got this ring from Tiffany's, and it's only going to come out on a special occasion. And no, somebody thought you were special enough to give it to you. I would be wearing that thing, because that's all material stuff. And sometimes I think we lose sight of how much value we place on material things. To me, they're good indicators. I mean, it's sometimes people are motivated with physical rewards. It's an achievement. It's you've reached a status, and also it goes into like accumulation.
Mm-hmm.
When some of my reading yesterday about accumulation was like, yeah, we actually it's kind of a Band-Aid.
Well, when we do the amassing more, the accumulation, you can do it in two types of way. You can just be acquiring more things, or you could be collecting. Those have two different vibes. One has this very conscientious, curated
Yes.
thing, where the other one is a quantifiable thing. Even just like that, the language. If you said, I have a collection of artwork, right? Or artwork is accumulated all over my house. One sounds different too. One sounds very purposeful, curated. You could have a million pieces of artwork. If they're curated, you'd just be a museum.
Right. Yeah.
And then I think of accumulation of something bad. So in your health, if you're repeatedly exposed to a particular chemical, if you're repeatedly exposed to too much alcohol, if you're, it's not a big deal day one. Sugar's a big one. It's not a big deal to have a cookie once, but if you're having cookies every single solitary day, 7 days, at some point your body will be unhappy.
Yeah. Well, you think about it, diabetes is like one of the top killers of in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And we, how they do regulate the insulin, they make it so expensive, and it's, I don't want to get started on that, but yes, bad eating habits, we're accumulating.
And do you have when I think about bad habits and accumulating them, when you say I'm going to stop having sugar, do you really stop having sugar, or until you've identified whatever it is that makes you feel like you're amassing, you need more and more of the thing? I think that's why certain programs, when they do diets, I think someone had some statistic of like the average person who goes to Weight Watchers goes 14 times. Well, then that's not a program that works.
Right.
Because if you have to go back to it and you can't sustain a life after that, if I'm
Right.
if I go to you and you help me lose weight, but I have to come to you 14 more times, you didn't help me lose weight.
Right.
Really, there's something that didn't change.
Right.
There's something, and then we were talking yesterday about master and slave, and we were talking about being slave to the scale. Well, some part of that wasn't working if you're constantly driving towards
Yes. Yeah.
a result without understanding the reason why. And that's why I think I don't like the word hack, because sometimes doing the thing, you have to learn everything to do the thing. That's where your experience comes from. And if you're going to ignore all the work and you just get to the thing, do you really realize?
Well,
Do you have the same experience?
true, but a lot of times a hack originates, in my mind, a hack originates from somebody going the long route and figuring it out and being like, hey, I'm going to just save you 20 steps. So it's debatable.
I love the way you look at hack, because you always make me reevaluate. I don't hate that word. That's fine. There's a purpose for it.
Well, no, I just think that there could be. So that's what I like. There is two, there's always a different way to look at something. And I just think about, again, it goes back to your experiences. Like, the word might have a negative connotation for you because of your past experience. But for the last couple of years, being in programs where they're teaching businesses, how to run a better company and, how to manage and, work a group and all of these things, or start a business or build your business, expand it. However, so the word hack is, has been used in that arena for people saying, hey, you don't have to take the long way. I've already done I've already, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I've already done it for you. So yes, a hack like that.
Yeah, no, I love that, because I always forget that probably is where it originated and where it was really useful. And then everyone's like taking it to avoid the work, taking it to avoid showing up. You talked
Yes.
about showing up at the beginning. There's no alternative to showing up.
True.
There isn't.
I-
We
yeah.
want there to be,
No.
but I don't think there is. You
True.
gotta-
So it depends on, because I agree with you. People say it can be used as a cop out or an excuse to not go further, learn more, expand your ability. So I agree with you. I think there's there's two meanings of it.
It's that duality.
What I think is funny is when I look at it, when I looked online, it said accumulate is often rooted in a psychological factors: attachment, security, and identity.
Ooh, so hoarding. Everyone looks at hoarding as like, what's wrong with you? I believe some monumental loss occurred that makes people hold on because they lost something and have not been able to process the loss. Like true hoarding. Not just you have a lot of crap around your house that you didn't clean up. I'm talking true hoarding.
But also, I think that sometimes it could be used as people use it as a metric, maybe, for the more things that you accumulate, people attach a self-worth to it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So collection is a little bit tricky because you can talk yourself into yes. I mean, I'm a jean collector.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so if I have a problem with accumulating clothes. I haven't really stopped to think whether it's healthy or not because I don't care.
Right.
I'm not going to change it. And I feel like I recycle when I feel like, okay, this is just enough. This is too much.
And
I'm
I also
really
feel
not.
like you buy stuff at consignment stores. So, I don't think you have I'm buying this $1 million Versace dress, wearing it once and tossing it in the trash. You don't have
Yes.
that kind of abusiveness to it. It's being utilized and it's being loved, and then it's being passed on to you, passed on from you. I think there's a whole different vibe to your. So I agree.
But
with you
also,
100%.
think about, like, I have dresses in my closet that I've never worn. It saw the tags on it, and those, some of the fancy dresses and stuff, and it just hasn't had the opportunity to wear it. But at the same time, every time I'm going to go somewhere and I'm like, oh, I need a new outfit, I have that in my mind. And if I break that down, there might be a little bit of maybe my insecurities in my own self-image are coming out to say, I always joke around. I've told my daughter forever, hey, do you want to go do some retail therapy? I've always said retail therapy instead of shopping because it gives you a high. I mean, I bought these, so I peeled the sticker back on these. So Marshalls and TJ Maxx were having their clearance event to get rid of all of their winter stuff. And so I just happened to pick these up. I saw the yellow sticker and it says $10, and I'm like, oh, those bad boys are mine.
For 2 iced coffees, I can have shoes.
Yes. And I hate iced coffee, so there you go. It was an easy win. Kayla was on the other side, and she's like, I heard that. She's like, good for you, Mama. I'm like, they're $10. But that's part of that adrenaline rush when you find a good deal. But I think if I peel back the layers of it and that need to be like, oh, we're going somewhere, we're going out, I need a new outfit. I got tons of stuff. I mean, I can go anyway. I've got fur leg warmers. I've got leather pants. I got a leather
You have to wear the
jumpsuit.
fur leg warmers in here one day.
Oh, yes. They are ostrich feathers, and they're really pretty. But
You have to wear them in here.
I almost wore them the other day. But then I forgot my outfit, so I forgot what I was wearing. Oh, I was wearing the pink shoes, so I
Okay.
was like, nah, I can't wear those today. Got to do the pink. Anyway, but
When we peel back the layers,
if I peel back those layers, I think it's like I'm nervous to go walk into a room, and I
that's your armor, kind of.
yes, it is my armor, because I feel like I feel most comfortable being the wallflower, and so my outfits in all of those things are to bolster a false confidence. I don't know, maybe it's not false confidence, but it gives me the courage to step out.
And what's interesting, seeing you from the outside, you could be in a sack. You are not a wallflower. You are so attractive, not only visually, your spirit and your energy. You are so attractive.
Oh, cry.
Don't cry. That the fact that you think, oh, I'm going to blend in the wallflower, you're not a blend. People, me, you didn't know it. You were going to be my friend. I invited you to yoga, and I'm like, this girl's mine. Poor thing doesn't even know what's going to hit
Well,
her.
actually, literally, the first time I ever met you, I had joked for years. As soon as the kids graduate, we're moving. The town that we live in is high taxes. But it's a great school system. I don't think you can get in any any low taxes unless you go into like hillbilly, Willy Wonkaville woods. Up north, I don't know what that is.
I don't know. I think the tax is kind of expensive anywhere. I didn't say that. No, I just think every place should have a great school system because the taxes seem really high.
Yeah. So the first time I met you, I had said to Chris, hey, kids are graduating this year. Maybe it's time to sell the house. And he's like, hey, I got a friend. Let's Lisa. Literally, I think you came over the next day and you're like, yeah, let's put it on. 2 days later, it was the sign in the yard, and a day later it was sold. So we're like friends then.
Yep. Yeah, but you didn't know prior to
something
that.
in you.
No, you didn't know that prior to that. You just had this conversation. You were really real and honest, and you're just so kind. And I know you don't have any bad bones in your body.
Well, I probably do.
No, you're fresh, but I like fresh. I'm fresh.
I like fresh.
Sexy spouse is fresh.
Yes.
I like the freshness. The freshness is the intensity and the aliveness. Is the
Yes.
freshness. And it's funny because my friend Carolyn taught me freshness, because I was like, oh, this just, and she goes, no, it's just he's being a little fresh. And I was like, oh yeah. And then I was like, oh, I'm kind of fresh too. She's like, you're totally fresh. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. And I say it when my nephews are misbehaving, and then my sister-in-law picked it up.
Yes.
You know, he's not, you know, they're not bad by any means. They're just fresh. They're just behaving freshly.
Yes. Yes. Well, actually, so when I first moved up here, I'd never heard the phrase, you're being a pill, before.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't even know where that comes from.
I don't know either, but I know it's part of a song.
You're being a pill? I just was thinking, well, man, if you didn't
Like, who wants to swallow that?
Well, especially if you didn't have any water. I mean, it would be bitter in your mouth. It would be like, so I was like, okay, that's got to be bad. That's
it's bad.
So.
Who wants to, and it's kind of like, who wants to swallow that? Who wants to swallow what you're pushing?
Right. So fresh is like, hey, that's good.
Well,
it's positive. I'll be that way.
Yeah. And I do think that, you know, when someone's being extra funny and there's just a little bit of, I think comedians are kind of fresh.
Yes.
Where you're saying something that's making us laugh at someone and ourselves.
Yes.
I think that's fresh.
I think comedians are brilliant that way.
Yeah,
because
me
they
too.
can, well, and even just the way they can weave it in and they can call out a group, but then they'll turn it and get the message. And it's, you know, you're kind of sitting there knowing that they're going to say something about, you know.
Nate, is it Nate Brennan? Neil Brennan. He has this very funny skit. And he says that women don't know how to dress. Women dress for the first 15 minutes at a party. And then the rest of the night, they're ill-equipped.
That is true, because I've been stuck in Boston with knee-high, you know, over-the-knee boots with stiletto heels walking through.
So he says, you know, women
Newbury
walk in,
Street.
hi, you know, like, be seen. And then 10 minutes into the party, they're like, we should leave. I'm cold and I'm hungry.
Right.
And he says, you're cold because you're not wearing enough clothes, and you're hungry because you haven't eaten anything.
Right.
And then
Bro,
the
it's
girl-
all about the appearance. You didn't get that?
And
You
the
didn't get the
girl-
memo?
And the girl, when she hears the truth, goes, rude. So anytime John would tell me something about myself from that point forward that I knew was true, I just didn't want to hear it, I would go, rude.
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 We had a friend of ours, her daughter. She was sitting there, and she's little. She's got maybe two or three. And her younger sister was named Kate. And she's like, that's just rude, Kate. Just rude. It's rude, Kate. It's just rude.
Right.
For years, it was just like, that's just rude, Kate.
Right.
Just
Rude
rude.
only went with Kate.
Yes.
Rude Kate had to be in it.
Yes.
Yeah, but so I think it's interesting, like I said about the wallflower piece. I have an addiction with books. I can have 100 books at home that I haven't read that are on my shelf to be read, and I will buy 3 more books. I think if I peel that back, is books have been everything to me from a young age. They've been the way I've learned about things. They're
Were you an only
ideas.
child?
Yes. Yes.
It's a way to get lost in a different world and feel, you
a
know,
part of something.
Yeah, and when you read a physical book, I feel like you get lost in the characters. I feel like when you're listening, but I think everybody has a preference.
And I think because I was trained so young on the written word.
Yeah.
I was telling John that the reason why I like reading as much as I do is I see a story play. I don't see words.
I do too. That's why I was telling, you know, because Chris and I were talking about, we were debating, can you read? Let me say it right. Can you read the word in your brain process, or do you hear it in your brain processes? Which one's faster?
Yeah.
Whether you can see it
and see an image, or do you hear the word and then post an image? Or do you not see an image at all? I know some people, when they say they read, they can't see it in their mind.
So when I hear it, I don't see it as well.
Me too.
And so I say to him, you know, I love the written word because I feel like I can get lost in it. And it's almost as if in a good story, you're drawn into it and you're not even knowing the words. It's like watching a closed caption movie. Once you really get into it, you kind of don't realize that you are reading the movie. You are reading it. It's not as great. It's not as good as reading the book and painting the picture in your head.
because your imagination is part of it, the imagination piece. I know what the character looks like. I know how they feel. I'm feeling it and seeing it at the same time. Where movies, I'm watching it. Some movies do a really good job of making me feel it, but
Yes.
writing is the piece for me.
Yeah, Chris is like, that's a lot of work. When I was describing to him, I'm like, yeah, I think she looks like this, and he looks like this, and he's like, wow, that's a lot of work. But I'm like, it doesn't seem like work to me. My brain is just painting that picture. It's just automatically assembling it.
There was a gentleman, and I will try to find the video on YouTube so that we can post it. I will try to find it. It's worth watching the video. He talks about how to read faster, and he describes it. And he describes the way, if you're a reader that doesn't see the image in your mind, how to get to see the image in your mind. So for people who say they don't like reading, I've actually found that and forward it to them to say, see if you or your kid doesn't like reading when people say they're children. I think it's because they don't, they didn't read to their children when they were young. But we're going to go to the top of the hour. You're listening to Lisa and Robyn on the mic. We will be back in a few minutes.
Virgin Islands, Trump's already won caucuses and primary elections in Iowa and New Hampshire. In the chambers of the U.S. Supreme Court, former President Trump's attorneys argue there was never an insurrection against the U.S. government.
President Trump did not engage in any act that can plausibly be characterized as insurrection.
Furthermore, they argue the Civil War-era clause of the 14th Amendment being used against Trump in many states does not apply to presidents, only lower office holders. The case stems from a Colorado High Court decision to remove Trump from that state's primary ballots over his actions related to the January 6th U.S. Capitol riots. A U.S. House Select Committee that investigated 2 years ago termed it as an attempted coup at the time. Former President Trump is calling the decision to not press charges in President Biden's classified documents case, quote, selective prosecution. Biden says, unlike Trump, he cooperated when federal investigators asked to have 50 classified documents reviewed and returned.
Bottom line is the special counsel in my case decided against moving forward with any charges, and this matter is now closed.
Biden had been holding on to classified documents since his time as vice president under Obama. Trump is still facing federal indictments for refusing to cooperate with federal officials for the return of documents seized by the FBI in a raid of his Mar-a-Lago, Florida home 18 months ago. There are now grand jury indictments filed against 7 immigrant suspects accused in the brawl that left 2 NYPD officers injured.
Based on our thorough investigation, I stand here today confident that we have identified the roles of every person who broke the law and participated in this heinous attack.
An immigrant man named Yohenry Brito, the prime suspect, as he was the first to interact directly with the officers that day in Times Square. He's been in custody without bail since the day of the brawl. This is USA News.
Savor the past and savor the glory days of Las Vegas. Enjoy 70 years of true Las Vegas history as 4 generations of family wait to greet you at the legendary Bootlegger Italian Bistro. Wine, dine, and experience Mama Maria's award-winning original recipes while surrounded by original family photos and celebrity memorabilia. Enjoy piano artistry nightly with music from the Great American Songbook in our main formal dining room. The Bootlegger Italian Bistro, open 24/7, 7700 Las Vegas Boulevard South, in the entertainment capital of the world. The Bootlegger Italian Bistro, open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 7700 Las Vegas Boulevard South, in the entertainment capital of the world. It's Vegas, baby.
Hey Nashua, do you know there's $1 roulette at the River Casino and Sports Bar? Join us this month for all-day happy hour specials for the big game. Bring your favorite Valentine to enjoy our special chocolate heart dessert. Watch, play, win at the River Casino Sports Bar on High Street. Oh, and our chicken tenders are fantastic too. Open till 4 a.m. Friday, Saturday. Visit us online at therivercasino.com.
Alltricks Primary Care, Nashua. They are a dedicated group of board-certified nurse practitioners, NPs, striving to make a difference in healthcare. They promise to make every effort to provide you with the best possible care and focus on you as an individual. As NPs, they are licensed to assess, diagnose, treat medical conditions, and prescribe medications. At Ultrix, they welcome new patients and accept most commercial insurance plans and Medicare. For those without insurance, consider Ultrix Direct, which provides all of your primary care for a small, affordable membership fee. No co-pays, no fee-for-service payments, and no third-party billing. Ultrix Primary Care provides unhurried, highly personalized health care for you and your family. Visit ultrixpc.com/Nashua. That's www.ultrixpc.com/Nashua. Ultrix Primary Care, changing the future of primary care for you and your family.
Are you or your loved ones in need of compassionate care in the comfort of your own home? Look no further than Heaven Sent Home Care. Heaven Sent knows the importance of personalized care tailored to your unique needs. Whether it is assistance with daily activities, medication management, or specialized medical care, our compassionate caregivers are ready to provide the highest quality of in-home care. The service provided by Heaven Sent Home Care extend beyond physical care. They also offer companionship, ensuring that you or your loved ones have someone to share stories, laughters, and meaningful moments with. Experience the peace of mind that comes with knowing your loved ones are in capable hands. Or visit us online at heavensenthomecarellc.com to schedule a consultation and learn more about the comprehensive range of services provided. Heaven Sent Home Care, where care and compassion come together.
Are you craving a delicious home-cooked breakfast or lunch? Look no further than Cookie's Diner, Hudson's favorite dining spot. But it's not just about the food at Cookie's Diner. Their friendly staff provides top-notch service, making you feel like part of the diner family. Cookie's Diner, conveniently located at 222 Central Street in Hudson. They're open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. until 2 p.m. and Sunday from 7 a.m. until 1 p.m. Call-ahead orders are always welcome via DoorDash or by calling 603-880-3424. Cookie's Diner, where great food and fantastic service come together.
The views and opinions of the following show do not reflect those of WSMN, its owners, and/or associates.
Lisa and Robyn are two fun friends diving deep into conversations where nothing is taboo. They believe in eating dessert before dinner and wearing the bikini. They're allergic to labels, authority, and cheap shoes. Currently, they're launching themselves through life being the good time, bold enough to take risks and inquisitively asking, what's next? They hail from New Hampshire, but they could be anywhere dressed in cute clothes. If they had to share a tombstone, it would read, "Curiosity killed these cats." Your hosts, Lisa and Robyn, on the mic.
Welcome. Welcome to Lisa and Robyn on the mic. You are listening on WSMN 1590 AM, 95.3 FM, and you can watch, stream, and listen on WSMN.live, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live. We are back in the studio talking about accumulation.
Just in case you didn't get the first time, I had to come in hot again.
I don't know. For some reason, I'm a little bit off on the timing, though, but I should look at this clock. I think we're all set. I think we're good.
I'll help you get an indicator. What time are you?
No, it says 104 here, and I was expecting it to say 107, which is why I wasn't prepared. It's okay. I'm going to ignore that time altogether and go off this time.
So some of the things I was talking about, the things that I found about accumulation, a lot of times it's more things equal more worth in some people's minds.
Yes.
Filling a void.
Mm-hmm.
Clinging to the past. We talked about that too. Pleasing others. You know, somebody gives you a gift and you don't feel like you want to throw it away. And I know that
that's huge when people pass away, and then people feel like I can't throw away the thing of the dead person because I'm throwing away the memory of this person if I throw away this thing. And I've seen so many people in real estate hold on to properties because they want to sell the property, but they can't throw away the contents inside.
Yeah, it's hard, but
and you think, I'm sure the person who passed away wanted you to have this property because they wanted to gift you something that's an asset for you to do with as you please.
Right.
And you're terrified of throwing away the chair or the this or the that.
Yeah.
I always tell people to take photographs.
Or take their favorite things.
Yes.
You know, take the favorite thing that or the thing that reminds you the most of them.
Mm-hmm.
We had an aunt one time, and she would give us those little Christmas villages that you light up. I don't know what they're called. And I'm like, I don't want to build a village.
Right. She wanted you to have that collection as every year you pull out the thing.
Yes. Yeah. I have my candle. I mean, I have my castle. I don't want a village.
Yeah. Yes.
But you feel bad, and then you hold on to it. And, oh, do you have this and you have that? And no, I don't.
Nor do I want it.
Quit buying it for me. Buy me a donut. Buy me some chocolate. Fear of failure.
How do you think that ties into accumulation? Do you think it's...
I don't know.
Do you think it's...
I could see fear of change.
I could see fear of change for sure.
I don't
or maybe
know.
that acknowledges the failure. So say, for example, divorce. If you've got to deal with, okay, I'm staying in the house, so-and-so left the house. Some people view... or the feeling that it evokes is that your marriage failed, right? And now you're living in this house, and it's a reminder of.
So maybe
what
it's
didn't
not
work.
a physical thing. Maybe it's an accumulation of trauma or negative energy or stress, or if you're talking about things that we take on. And I feel like when you come from a place of a low self-esteem, we have a tendency to give more power to other people's words.
It reminds me of, I don't know if Freud really said this, but before you label yourself depressed, make sure you're not surrounded by a-holes.
Yes, that's true.
And I was thinking, how would someone get self-confidence if they're surrounded, but if they've accumulated people who aren't confident in themselves?
True. Say that again.
So if I'm somebody and I'm like, oh, I don't have good confidence in myself. And I'm looking at everyone around me and no one around me has good confidence in themselves. Is it an accumulation of everyone's belief that everyone's not good enough?
Well, I think it's your environment. When you said that, that's why I was like asking you, because my brain went in a couple of different directions. There's a saying, if you hang out with 5 millionaires, you'll be the 6th.
Mm-hmm.
If you hang out with 5 smokers, you're going to be the 6th.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's just, so your environment, again, is everything. And if you think about it, so when you were talking about that confidence versus low self-esteem, in giving power, we take it more personally when we're in a place, when we're in a deficit, when we don't feel good about ourselves, when we have a low self-worth. Because when you're confident and you walk into a room and you're like, okay, I got to pitch these guys, I got to sell this, I'm going to sell this, commercial building, and it's going on, and your stuff. You walk into the room with confidence. If somebody says to you, wow, Lisa, you're so confident, or something, they say something, it seems like your armor, it just kind of bounces. It's a bad analogy, but when you're...
No, I know. If you're feeling good, someone's opinion can just bounce off of you. But if you're not feeling good, then that person's opinion, especially if it's negative, could stick to you.
So I was trying to use it as a term, even as a compliment. When somebody says, oh, you're so confident, even though you don't, that your stuff. So you're not worried about, am I going to deliver the speech perfectly? Am I going to stutter? Am I going to say too much? Or you just know, it's like a gear, a light switch that goes off and like, okay, I'm activated, I'm performing, instead of second guess yourself. When you're low self-esteem, it's your confidence. And, if somebody says, hey, you look really nervous, and, it might be the thing that, like, makes you, fall into a puddle.
Right. And I love when people do this. God, you look really tired. Are you okay? And you're like, oh, I didn't feel like I looked really tired, but thanks.
You can call me
Thanks.
tired, just don't call me pregnant. Done that a few times, trust me. Well, so yesterday, I can't remember if we said it on the radio.
Oh my God, the pregnant one.
Yes.
That's hilarious. I don't know why anyone, sexy spouse often says someone could be 9.5 months pregnant, actually giving birth, and I'd be like, you were pregnant?
Yes.
I'm not getting into that argument.
Smart man. Yeah, so my random thought yesterday, after our conversation, we're willing to hurt the people that we love more than we are willing to fight our own demons. And so accumulation in our own self-worth. I think something was on my volume. Something happened to my earbuds.
Okay,
Sorry.
hold on. You keep talking and I'll find you.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay, that's fine. There we go. So we are willing to hurt the people we love more rather than fight our own demons. And so I feel like part of...
That's sort of like the lies we tell ourselves.
Yes. Your ego and your insecurities and your fears, and if you know that you have a problem with, say you have a problem with anger. So if you and I are in a relationship, well, we are in a relationship. But if I have problems with anger and it's really affecting you and it scares you and it startles you and it makes you want to draw away from me, there's nothing wrong with that. But if I don't do anything to protect you from my anger, how am I showing up for you? I'm not being a very good friend. I'm not willing to lay that thing down. I'm not willing to lay that down in order for our relationship to be better.
Yeah, maybe we need, I'm thinking maybe I don't know how to lay it down. Right? And then the best thing would be to be like, Robyn, I need help with this. I know my anger frightens you. I know it puts you, makes you scared. So
wait, I
help
was the angry
me.
One.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just kidding.
I'm angry.
No, I'm angry.
Oh, no, I'm angry.
Okay.
With giggling in the background.
Right.
I don't know. We don't sound very convincing. We do.
Let's go have Mai Tais and talk about it.
Yeah. And play pool and have fun.
See, there you go. Problem solved. It's that easy, people. It really is.
We did. We fixed it.
It's a mindset shift. So I actually put a post out today. I don't know if you saw it.
I didn't.
And I just said, let's play a game. Let's play a game on Friday. Repeat after me. I am going to have a good day.
I am going to have a good day.
That's it.
Yeah.
And let's see who does it.
Yeah.
And let's see, has a great day.
You might have to say that 45 times in the day.
Absolutely.
You might have to say that every 15
yourself,
minutes.
Like if you get up in the morning and you say, set your intention. I am going to be intentional. I am going to have a good day. And if you say that a couple of times over and over in your head and then something negative comes, if it just gives you a moment to pause, if you're new at this stuff, if it gives you that one couple of seconds to pause and think about it, it's already doing its, that seed is starting to sprout.
I will tell you, I've started.
Now it's like, okay, am I going to make a choice?
I'll tell you which one is hard. I've tried it for a long time, and I get better at it, and then there's times I'm really bad at it. But in an argument, I have nothing to defend. Because I think 50% of the argument is me defending against what you're accusing me of, whether I am or am not. And so if you said, Lisa, you've been really angry lately, and it's making me really uncomfortable. I don't even feel like I can be around you. I can be having the best day in the world. I come to you. You're so mad about everything. My mood, I'm ready even talking to you sometimes, you're
right.
Whatever. Now, my first thing is defend my anger.
Yes.
That's where I immediately, I put my feet, I get in my athletic stance.
Well, do you know what happened to me?
And I'm defending myself against that. But if I say, don't defend your anger, then I don't know what to do. So I have to listen. And then I'm like, okay, listening that you're making your friend not want to talk to you, and that you're pissing on her parade, and when she's in a good mood, she talks to you, and she's not in a good mood. Like that would if I'm not defending my position, I could actually hear what you said.
Yes.
And say to myself, do you want Robyn to call you and feel worse when she gets off the phone with you?
Well, most of the time, I think people don't listen with the intent to understand.
No, because we're busy defending our positions.
Right. I'm defending. I'm defending my. So
But this is like a perfect example of that. And what if I'm so busy defending? What if I said, "Oh gosh, am I coming off angry at you? I'm so sorry. I'm just really sad. My cat just passed, and I'm not really."
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
And then you could have a conversation of like, and maybe you're saying, "Oh, you know what it is? You're not mad. You're just really hurt. So you're really testy and easily. You could have a whole conversation on that. But if I'm going to defend that you said I'm angry and I'm not angry,
right,
or I'm not whatever, the defending part. When you're in a really close relationship, if you can stand up when an argument's coming at you and don't just defend your position. It's impossible. I know.
Well,
I know.
So
because you're in an argument, you want to defend yourself. But
so I think that what I'm learning, and there is a great book that gives this, it actually has flashcards with it. It kind of just opened my eyes. Once you realize the way somebody is responding to you has less to do with you. You've touched a hot spot. You've hit on a wound inside of them. I can't, and I'm realizing, and I have to keep telling myself, I'm not responsible for your feelings. And a lot of times when people are angry and they're upset, misery loves company.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're trying to project all of that stuff onto you. And then, of course, in return, we get angry. So now we're sharing it. Listen, it works both ways. You can raise the room. You can raise the temperature in a room, and you can raise the vibration in the room with your, activate your heart smile, raising that level. You can bring just as much excitement and joy. And, a lot of times I would get silly when the kids were kind of young, when they were younger, and just fussing and picking and just being siblings. A lot of times I'd turn the radio on, I would grab the broom and I would do karaoke, or I'd just do something silly. Or, one time they were fussing on the way home and they're still in their car seats. And Kayla, she was saying, "Liar, liar, pants on fire." And I said, "What? Your hair?" I mean, and she was like, "No." And they were getting frustrated because I kept making up a different word. It was everything but that. And then the next thing, now they're into it. They've changed the game and they're trying to think of every word, and, he comes out with "Liar, liar, your hair's a gorilla," or something like that.
Yeah.
But they're laughing and giggling, and it's just like that.
Yeah.
It's something is so simple. And the biggest thing that I'm working on for me is not attaching to somebody else's emotions. Like, did I come across hurtful? Did I come across rude? Well, 9 times out of 10, there's a better way to say it. But sometimes I feel like some things need to have a little bit of impact. It doesn't have to be rude or hurtful. It can just be, Chris says I'm blunt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I feel like I'm just truthful.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, well, it's your truth.
Right.
But I'm like, well, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, even if I write it down, it still looks logical.
Right. I put it in front of 5 of my friends.
Right. Let's put this to a poll.
The jury is out. I was right.
Yes.
Well, I was thinking in when people first fall in love, you sometimes project an idealized version of them.
We also put our best foot forward, too.
Right. The other person's putting their best foot forward. We're projecting what could be on this person. But we can do that in a fight, too. The other person could not be doing something, and you can project something onto them that's not them. And that's why I say the defend, thing. Because I'm like, if I'm not, if I don't have to defend this, because what if it's a projection?
Right.
What?
Chris, he has done that. Big Dog's done that a few times.
Yeah.
And I have said, "Don't put that on me, Ricky Bobby." Ain't owning that. Don't put your bad juju on me, Ricky Bobby.
Yeah. Don't you put that on me, Ricky Bobby.
That's not how it's going down. I love
Last chance. Romance.
Bring it home.
Cut around the
little
meat.
mama.
Cut around the meat.
Yes.
Movie
yes.
references. Are you a Monty Python person?
No, not really. I mean, I do enjoy it, but I never grew up watching it because we never had cable. And then, then when I actually had the chance to have cable, when I had my own apartment, I couldn't afford it. So, and I'm not a big TV watcher, so I'm not a solo TV watcher. I'm cool.
I understand that 100%. Yeah.
Because I'm like, I have
could be doing anything else.
Yes. So it's an event. You know,
Yeah.
It's an event.
We should I can make an entire conversation from Monty Python movies. I love, when I was younger, it was like a cult thing for me. I loved Monty Python. I also love Trailer Park Boys now.
Yes.
I love Trailer Park Boys.
There was another one years ago, Massachusetts. I thought it was like 3 guys.
Oh.
It was old. This was like when I first moved out, like 96, 97. I'll do some digging.
Okay, do some digging and bring it up. I don't know why I got on the Monty Python thing. Oh, because we started to quote movies. I could recite The Entire Life of Brian, and I could recite the entire movie of and the Holy Grail, Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Oh my gosh.
Because I fell in love with their humor. It was so off-key, and they're terrible at transitions.
Yes.
So in the life of Brian, all of a sudden, he's like abducted Brian, who is Jesus's. He's born at the same time. He's in the same area.
Yes.
He's the
Yes.
parallel to Jesus. Jesus
Yes.
is out doing amazing work.
Yes.
And then there's Brian. And
hey, Brian.
he gets picked up by the aliens, and you're like, they just didn't know how to transition to the next scene. I understand bad transitions. And I think, about accumulation and transitions, I think why I need transitions is because if I don't transition from one thing to the next, I'm accumulating everything. So you know how you said today you started and everything was going good, but you didn't do your few things, but everything was going good up until 2 o'clock when you're a dumpster fire?
Well, it started like 12:30.
Okay. Your 12:30 dumpster fire? I think that's the accumulation of energy that picks up momentum instead of having its space and time. Like the car. When I'm in traffic, I don't know. I need 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds to transition from road Lisa to non-road Lisa. Road Lisa is an impatient, this is taking too long.
Yeah.
I used to love driving. I used to love it. Now I hate it.
Well,
I dread it. If I had more
yeah.
money,
yes.
If I win the lottery, I don't play the lottery, but if I ever do for some reason and I win, I am having a driver 24 hours a day. I'll pay massive amounts of people, good salaries.
Yes, I would like a driver.
Just to drive me around because I can't handle it anymore.
And we need a back. They have like a champagne cooler in the back.
Yes.
In the back seats, it literally is made for somebody to drive you around. The back seats recline.
Yeah, I just need that because I'm not.
Soft,
I can't be on the road
leather.
anymore.
Oh my gosh, yes. And it actually has a tray table thing that pops out of the armrest and comes over so that you can work.
That sounds awesome.
It's amazing. I don't know how much they are, but it might have to be on my to-do list.
My vision board.
Yes. I'm like, well, I got some other stuff I need to manifest first.
Right, first, and then we come up with that.
Yes. A fun fact. So I had some friends that were homeschooling their kids. Do you know our kids have a 7-hour workday? 7-hour school day. In the ringing the bell and moving to the time, the bell rings at 5 minutes, but they really actually buffer in like 10 for them to get settled and all that stuff. They buffer in those transitions. Without those transitions, all the homeschoolers that I ever, they start at like 8:30, 9 o'clock. They're done before noon.
Mm-hmm. Because they have no transitions.
They don't have any transitions, but it's also smoother and there's less chaos.
Right, because you don't have 35 kids or 50 kids. You've got 1 or 3.
And 9 times out of the 10, the 3 are, corralled, and you've kind of controlled all of them. So they're already familiar with they're familiar with the ground rules.
The tyrannical oppression from above.
Right. Right. You don't have some, like some wild hair just popping out right here. Like, yeah, we didn't know that one.
There's times when I think homeschooling makes perfect sense, and then there's times when I'm like, stop playing God. You gave birth to them. You control them all day. Now they're supposedly off to go to school and play with the others, join the others, and then you're still controlling that.
I think homeschool is super difficult because you have to have a level of discipline. But I also think that
not everyone's a teacher. Not everyone is a teacher.
Yeah, not everybody's a teacher. And I could definitely see it where you are, if your child is struggling in school and you have, issues, so there's definitely, I'm not poo-pooing homeschooling. I just think that it makes your job way more harder because you have to integrate them. And a lot of people don't have that time or, honestly, the energy to, say you've got 4 kids and you homeschool them, and in order to integrate them and socialize them, they all have to be in a different sport. So now you've got 4 different sports. So you've actually tacked on more time in your day that you're just educating your children. I mean, hats off. It's hard work.
And anyone who does it and does it well, honestly, Godspeed. But there's an element of, I joke around about the God thing. I do think there's a little bit of that God thing of, your rule, your house, your rules. This applies.
Yeah.
But to go and then there's no separation from that.
Yeah.
Now that could be all for the benefit. I mean, I know some lovely, lovely homeschooled people. Lovely.
Oh yeah, amazing.
Smart and amazing and fun, and not a lick of anything you could say about them. Not one thing, but I just think how hard.
So when I was a nanny on the Cape, I didn't realize it then. When I was a nanny, the father would come home around 3:30, 4 o'clock. He was like property man, or he's like a general contractor for all these on the Cape. He would get home, and I would leave as soon as he got home. I mean, they got settled, make sure he was, didn't need anything. And I would go somewhere. Even if it was in the winter, I would drive around. I'd go to the mall and sit and read my book at the mall. Just something to be out of the house, to separate. I'm not working anymore. When I come back, I'm going to be a different member of the family. Yes, I'll help make dinner. And a lot of times I start a dinner or cook dinner for them. And they're such a great family. We always got along. But the mom was always, hey, come to the playground with us after dinner and come do this. And, and the little one, the 2-year-old, sometimes she knew it, but it would just slip out. Mama, occasionally, just you're in playing and stuff like that. And I was just like, we need to have a little bit of separation. It was always fun. And she wanted to hang out too. And I liked hanging out with her, but I had to set a boundary of being like, no, because this will consume.
Yes, both of us. It will consume all of us.
All of me. And now I have a little bit of freedom. It's the first time I've ever left my family and been solo all by myself. And so I do want to take advantage of that.
Yeah. And you relished it. You relished your freedom.
Yeah. Sometimes boring at times because the Cape back then is so dead in the winter, but
right.
And I didn't,
I do think we are missing boredom.
Yes,
because you can distract yourself, and what I don't think anybody would actually, maybe some people would agree, but sometimes the things that we're doing that we're filling so that we're not bored are also boring, because there's just so much of the same all the time.
But man, growing up, we lived in this neighborhood, and it was 3 girls that were similar to age, and I don't know, 6 or 7 boys, and we had a lake behind our house. And our kids, we were latchkey kids.
It wasn't illegal back then.
No, it was a whole different world. But I mean, we lived 10 minutes outside of like a town, so it was just kind of more in the country, and then 2 miles off of the main road, and it was in a neighborhood. So the only time any car came by, it was one of our parents or a delivery truck. So you just didn't. We left the keys in the car, and I mean, we taught everybody in the neighborhood how to drive a stick shift while our parents were at work. So there you go. But because we were bored.
I used to hang in the car too.
Oh my gosh, my sister and I used to get our dolls and strap them in, and we'd pretend that we were driving in the driveway, and we got walkie-talkies, and so she's in one car, I'm in the other, and we're taking our babies to the park, and we'd have the little umbrella strollers, and I mean, we had the whole scenario played out. I was ready to be a mom.
Right. Isn't that funny?
But we practiced. But a lot of times as we got older, I mean, we made, we had mud ball fights. We created stuff in the kitchen without a cookbook, and surprised it didn't kill anybody. But it's where your creative and your curiosity comes from. And I think I even said when my children were in elementary school and middle school, we bog them down with homework. They don't even know what it's like to be bored. Because when you're bored, you have to go in.
Well, you have to create something so that you're no longer bored.
You have to look inward to be like, well, how am I going to entertain myself?
I wonder if I had social media the way these kids have social media now, would I have no voices in my head? Because aren't all my voices just a narrative of narrating the next thing, the next play, the next game? I have a full-blown narration.
Right.
So, sometimes I think when my Pilates teacher used to be like, left arm, and I used to, the voices in my head, you got to speak louder. There's 3 other voices talking.
Yes.
Would I have all those voices if I was just watching something on a screen all the time?
Yeah, I don't know, because I have a lot of browsers open. Sometimes I have to look away in order to focus, and I have to not look at something that's stimulating, in order to stay concentrated on, or I can't do a random thought. A lot of times, and see, I should have been more aware. I didn't sleep very well last night. I got up really early. And the thing that drives me out of the bed the most in the mornings is a lot of times I'll lay there, and when I first wake up, I'll look around and try to do my gratitudes. And sometimes I like to just float in that space where the
dream world's not 100% closed.
Yeah. And you're awake, but you still are just kind of like, I'm just going to let those thoughts run through and go and play out. I love doing that. But this morning, and it's been a couple of times, they lead to negative thoughts and worry and stress. And then I start worrying about my people. And then it just starts getting dark. Like, I just start getting angry, and like, I feel like a Viking. I'm ready to charge out and, go get my battle axe. And so I literally like shake my head and like, all right, I'm out. And then I go and, I'll go get my coffee and say hi to the kitties. And then I can sit down on the couch, and then I can go through my gratitudes. But I'm like, I should have known, because that's how my morning started. I needed to be...
Yeah, more grounded.
Yes.
You needed to get your back self to 0.
Yes.
All right. And I think the way I wake up, I can wake up 70 miles an hour on the freeway. Like, the thoughts are already in a race. Like, I'm behind. And I think I joke that I'm a great problem solver, so I'm always trying to find problems to solve. So I have to be I'm trying to be, I'm not successful 23 hours and 59 minutes of each day.
Yes. Yes.
That, like, all right, pull this back in. Just rein this back in. Be here in the now. My word for the year is engaged. Be more engaged. Stop being on to the next thing. Do this thing. But it's a constant remembrance.
Yes. I think being intentional about adding the word pause, and I've heard you use it quite a bit this year.
Oh, good. Because I wasn't saying it before.
Well, last night, so in being aware, and I should have known. So I just was kind of in a funk. I was just struggling with something, and so I went outside on our front porch, and I always have good memories of our front porch. Growing up, we spent a lot of time out in the summer. We counted out $17 worth of pennies and put them all in $1 in each bag. So we had 100 pennies in 17 Ziploc bags. Our friend in the neighborhood, her brother and his friend used to work at Sal's Pizza, and we begged his friend to deliver a pizza because it was way outside of the 5-mile radius. So we were counting our money, like, we're kids. We don't have any money. So we sat on the porch and,
collecting pennies. We're going to find.
Oh,
so
we had the
don't-
whole neighborhood in and on it. Everybody runs home and goes to bring all their change and stuff back. Poor guy. But we got the pizza. Yeah, I think by the time I think we all had one slice. But
And then when they got back to the register, they said, you don't have to get change for the next 6 weeks.
Right.
Because these guys have given
See what happens when you get bored?
Right.
But it's a great memory. Anyway, so last night it was actually nice outside. It was kind of chilly, but it wasn't super cold. And you could just see the stars in the sky, and I loved sitting on the front porch, and I was just grounding myself, remembering childhood, and I loved the porch, and I was like, oh, do you know what would look really good right here? I'm going to get some really comfy chairs, and I bet we could do these plants, and just the urns. I really want, like, urns with color popping. So I'm creating this picture, and it's helping me ground. And so we were just sitting there for a little bit, and then he started, and he said, well, when I feel blah, 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 and he was just saying, going down, and he was telling me how he felt, and I just said, I'm so sorry. I can't hold your feelings right now. And I didn't mean it to be rude, but it was just like, I know that I'm in a vulnerable spot, and I feel like whatever you say, if it's emotional, I'm going to take it, and I can't do that right now. And I'm like, I didn't mean that. I said, I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean that. I'm not trying to shut you down. I'm just like, I literally cannot be.
If you want to cry and mess on your hand, say whatever
Right.
you're going to say.
I can't be, or fight.
Or a fight.
I can't do your emotions and mine too.
Mhm.
And I didn't mean it to sound rude, but I thought about that. And he's like, understood. And usually when he says understood, it's like, I said, I didn't mean to. But he's like, no, I get it. And he didn't mean it in a
negative way.
In a negative way. And I was like, wow, if we could just start doing that for each other and just giving each other, some clues. But we got to know our own clue first.
Right.
And I missed mine today. That's, see, I'm not perfect.
Bite your tongue. You're not perfect. Bite your tongue.
Oh, my glitter dust.
We're all kind of perfect.
So I do
and
think
imperfect.
So actually, a fun fact that I found out that clutter, well, it does make us feel anxious. It makes us feel unbalanced, and it also makes us feel ashamed.
Mm-hmm.
I could think of a scenario, if you have clutter, you don't want to have people come over. You don't want
Right.
people to see your mess.
When I think about entertaining and when people talk, I'm also trying not to use the capital E entertaining, but you're having people over. A lot of people don't want to have people over because they're embarrassed about their house.
Yes.
And 9 times out of the 10, the people who are coming over love you and don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And you are going to have we'll label the in-law or the whatever that's going to. Did you see the dust on the back of the toilet?
Yeah, you're
bowl
always
or
gonna
whatever?
have that.
You're going to always have that person, but that person's looking for something to complain about with
Yes.
everyone all the time. If you
Yes.
just understand that some people are born the critic.
Yes.
They're just born to critique like they're perfect because they're not looking at their thing. They're just the
Right.
critic,
Well, but
that is a real personality trait, actually, is the critic. It's a real
it
personality
is.
trait.
But I think it comes from a feeling, a lack. I think it comes from of an insecurity, whether you feel like this person is better than you, you're envious, you're coveting. I mean, unless it's just downright a dump and you're like, yeah, that is not like a month of dust on a baseboard. That's like years.
And usually people who have never picked up a vacuum ever. I mean,
See, I'm a perfectionist, and there's a part of me that I am a critic, but I don't
Are you
judge. I don't.
criticizing yourself?
I feel like
Because I've never heard you critique someone else.
Oh, I do all the time in my head.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I do say it out loud, but most of the time, somebody's like, "Stop that."
Oh, okay.
You can't say that. You're going to go to jail. I do hear that a lot from my family. That's just rude.
Rude.
I'm sorry. I got to put my filter back on. I'm learning to have filters.
Mm-hmm.
What was I saying? Oh, the critic. Yeah, you could have four house cleaning companies come in, and there will always be that one person, a Karen, that's going to criticize you, or oh, here's a hack. I used to break my neck cleaning when we first owned our own house, got our first house. We'd have company over, and I would break my neck. It was spotless. I mean, everything. I was actually even taking out the silverware and making sure there were no water spots on all of them, just in case somebody went in. So that is what I'm saying. I am OCD, and I am a perfectionist. And she said to me one day, I was over helping her get ready for a big family reunion. And she's like, oh, no, I'm not going to mop the floors. I'm not going to do anything. I just kind of just spot dust here and there. And she's like, and then I have somebody come in and clean after they leave. And I was like, oh, my gosh, that's brilliant. Because I'm actually not cleaning my house for you. I'm actually keeping my house clean for me. So I don't want it clean for you. I mean, I want it nice for you.
But it's going to be dirty because of the party.
Right. And I want it clean for you. And people don't care. People don't see that stuff.
When I have a cleaner who comes every other week, and she does the bathrooms and stuff. And I was like, for a while I was like, I want her to clean before everyone comes. And then I started being like, no. Because now I paid someone to clean my house, and now I'm cleaning my house.
Yes.
Which was not the point. So now I try to coordinate. It doesn't always work. But I may run a vacuum if it's a disaster. When I had 2 cats, I had way more fur everywhere. My other cat must have shed way, way, way more. Because 2 days not vacuuming, it looked like, what the hell happened? Like there was an assault, and someone lost all their hair there.
Yes.
Like, who pulled out all of the hair and left it on the carpet in the living room? Did you have a bad day? Why is all your hair on the floor? So I used to have to run a vacuum.
I think there was a murder
no
scene in the living room.
A hawk killed a squirrel and all the fur's off. But now that I just have the one cat, I can go, a week without vacuuming.
Yeah.
And it doesn't show the same way. We just
lost a curtain.
We just lost a curtain rod. But I do agree that you clean after everyone comes.
Yes.
Because there's going to be stuff and you're going to have to clean up. So clean once.
The best money we've ever spent is Jarvis.
What's Jarvis?
Roomba.
Roomba. Okay.
The vacuum, we've got 4
Does
of
it
them.
work on hardwood and carpet?
Yes.
Like when it goes between? It
Yes.
does.
Yeah, and so then I have like a little tiny vacuum if I'm just going to go whip out, I keep it in the kitchen and you can just whip it out. It's so much better than sweeping. I love it.
I didn't even know that.
Oh,
my sister-in-law uses one.
It's so worth it. My house is vacuumed 3 days a week.
I wonder if Bosco would like it.
The cats do watch it, and every once in a while I put a toy on it. They just kind of follow it around. And
that's actually a good idea to put the toy on it. Keep them occupied.
Until it gets there, but then it's like, it's cleaning day, and now you got to go pick up all the strings because the cats like their toys. And I was like, man, kids are in our 20s. I thought I was going to be done picking up toys until grandkids.
Nope. The cats.
Nope. Newsflash. So I think there's easy ways to do it instead of we getting to like looking at decluttering our life, our minds. Start small. Start with a small space.
I think the accumulation of things, if there's something, and I noticed this because I didn't work out for 2 months. I go to start working out. My bureau is packed. I can't even pull out clothes. And I didn't notice. I'm like, how much clothes do I have? Workout clothes. And then, I did 75 hard twice. And I kept buying things because something was always in the wash. You work out twice a day. You're wearing 2 sets of clothes a day, 7 days a week. That's 14 outfits. But when you're not working out at all, they're all clean and folded and in. I'm like, uh-oh. I better start working out to make these drawers better. But I started thinking, I've got to probably throw some of this away now.
I'm not wearing enough athletic clothes. I got to work out. Something's got to run.
Right. Because someone told me that congratulated me on being pregnant when I wasn't pregnant. And I wore a sweater over workout pants. And she said to me, I said, I'm not pregnant. She goes, oh my God. She goes, don't ever wear that outfit again. And I never wore that outfit again. I threw away the top. And I swore on that day I was only wearing workout clothes when I worked out, either to or from the workout or the workout. I try not to run out looking like I just worked out if I'm not working out. And it was because of that comment.
See,
the pregnant comment. Don't call me pregnant.
See, I don't mind the workout clothes. And I actually was thinking
I have cute workout clothes too.
Yes, you do. I was like, dang it. She does look so cute. She does. I can't find a bra that's comfortable that I can even stay in for more than 5 minutes. So
I know.
I'm
going to try to help you with that.
What was I going to say? Oh, there's a difference in putting on sweatpants in the morning or workout pants. I felt it. Because the other day, I was like, it's beautiful, it's sunny, I'm going to go for a walk. I put on sweatpants. I didn't go for a walk. I cleaned the house. I cleaned all the bathrooms and I
Right.
did all the laundry. And like, I got busy doing all these things.
But
I
you
didn't go
didn't
for a
walk.
walk.
Yeah.
But I'm like, the next day I put it on and I did. I changed clothes and I went out. But it was like 4:00 and the sun had already started to go down and it's getting cold. But I'm like, just a small shift. I'm going to put workout pants on in the morning. And it kind of is like, okay, I've already set an intention. It's just micro shifts.
Mm-hmm. And the accumulation, you can accumulate good habits or accumulate bad habits.
Yeah.
And it seems like we notice the ill effect of bad habits accumulating quicker than you're doing the good thing, and you have to wait for that to accumulate
Right.
too.
Well, and I think in awareness, it's just like we were talking about small shifts. Like the post I made today, today is going to be a good day. Instead of getting up in the morning and looking in the mirror and being like, oh man, I got a meeting at 7:30 and I got to do this and so wants a report by 9. Stop.
Mhm.
Stop thinking that way. Take your morning, look yourself in the morning in the mirror. I'm going to have a great day today. And go list off 5 things that you're grateful for. And we talk about like a low self-worth. Let's work on raising our vibration.
I will tell you something funny. When I went to my very first therapist, and I think there's a lot of benefit to therapy during various parts of your life. You're going through a trauma or something like that. And my school required that I see this therapist before I could move on. And I was very resistant to the idea that I needed a therapist. I thought
Right.
there's nothing wrong with me. It's my family that's crazy.
Right.
They need therapists.
Right.
I don't need a therapist.
Right.
You should see my school should require them to come.
I'm the only normal one here.
I'm the sane one.
You try to
here.
drag me in? I'm laying down for you.
But one of the things he said to me was, and it's not the exact wording, but he said, well, tell me something good about you, or what you're good at. And I was like, I'm a good student. And he was like, no, like in your personality, like what? And I could not say anything positive about myself. And so he said, between now and next visit, you have to come up with saying something positive. And that was like my chore. That was my homework in therapy for like several months. I had to come up with a different thing. I couldn't name a new thing.
That's good. That's good.
But if everyone had that homework.
Right. So what we feed grows and what we starve. And we get when we have such a low self-image, the thing that we do is when we look in the mirror, we are comparing our flaws to every other person's attributes. We do. And we start looking for our flaws and not seeing our beauty. And so when my daughter was, going through puberty and we just have these awkward phases and, she's comparing her body and how it's growing and changing to everybody else and everybody's pretty. And I'm like, look in the mirror and tell yourself, look in the mirror and say, what do you like about you? My eyes are beautiful. I love my eyelashes. Man, my brows are banging today. Just something. What if we did that for our homework? Let's say you have to say 3 things that you love about you. Say what they are out loud.
Something physical, something emotional, and something like some strength that you have.
Yeah, I like that.
I do 3. All right. What is our homework? I'm going to write it down. We're going to say something nice about ourselves.
3 things that you like about yourself. 1 has to be emotional. 1 has to be physical. Random. What was the other one?
Mental.
Mental.
Like a strength that you have.
A strength. Yeah.
Because
Some
one will
of
be
your
based
attributes.
on looks, your physical something, or it doesn't have to be looks. It could be I have really strong legs.
Right.
I could lift someone out of the fire with my legs because I'm not doing it with my upper body. What was really
I'm not doing it. Yeah.
John, Sexy Spouse had said, "You see if you can lift me. What if there's a fire and you have to lift me out?" And I'm like, "I can't lift you out." And he's like, "Try." So I try, and I'm not. And then I start giggling, and nothing good happens when I
Right.
giggle.
You lose all upper body strength when you giggle.
and And the whole thing's going on. And I said to him, I need you to carry the cat litter upstairs. What makes you think I can lift your dead weight body out of this? He goes, well, this is going to be a problem. You should be able to do this. And I'm like, should I?
Yes.
Maybe. Does Robyn lift Big D? Does Val lift?
I can carry him on my back if he gets a piggyback. I can't lift him up. He kind of has to.
I would be able to piggyback him too, but he wanted to be moved. He had been knocked unconscious and needed to be removed from the fire. I can cover him in a fire blanket.
Roll. You just have to roll him. I don't know.
I went and tried to get dollies. I ran in the other room. I'm like, we have dollies. I couldn't roll them on the dollies. And then I started giggling. And
so what you do, here it is, what you do. You take a blanket, get a big blanket, and you roll him onto the blanket, and then you pull it. You pull it up like a tarp.
Yeah, that's why they always.
I'm sorry, we got to go down 5 flights of steps, but
down the stairs.
I'm sorry, officer. I'm not responsible for his death. I was saving. I think there's a Good Samaritan. I'm practicing Good Samaritan law.
Really? Because he's wrapped up in a towel. He's wrapped up in a blanket. I know it looks bad.
It's wet too. Well, it was a fire.
Right, it was a fire. I don't know why.
It wasn't a fire. It was smoke. Oh, my bad.
Yeah. Physical things. You have to say nice physical things about yourself. I have really strong legs, except when I have to save sexy spouse from a fire.
I don't know what maybe that we should, and because we don't have physical strength, maybe we should get a fire extinguisher and have in every room.
We do have that.
In every room?
We have multiple on a floor.
I think we have one in the bar and one in the kitchen. We should probably have one upstairs.
Yeah, you definitely need one upstairs. I don't know why. The dryer, where's your dryer?
Downstairs.
Okay. More dryer fires occur than stove fires. I read a statistic on that from the fire department. In my real estate, we get these magazines.
Yeah.
And that was a real estate fact that more fires started in the dryer, with the dryer. Clean out your lint.
Oh, yes.
Clean out the lint. There's companies that you can hire to do that.
See? We get all kinds of useful tips listening to us.
We're very useful.
I know.
We have a lot of knowledge.
Just saved your husband from a fire?
Well, we're going to prevent the fire because I can't save him from the fire.
Well, we gave some solutions, though.
Right, we did.
Could do a fire extinguisher in every room, or the big blanket, and, down the steps.
Dolly
I do think that you are protected under the law, the Good Samaritan law, if they die in transition.
But the point is to have them not. We're trying to save them.
Right. Yes.
But I think about, wow, I love that sexy spouse is big and strong. But then on the other side, you fall in the woods because one time I did fall trail running and injured myself and he had to carry me out. If he had fallen with trail running, I'd be like, I'm going to run.
Help.
Stay right here. I'll be back. Because
you'll splint it with twigs and poison ivy. Right.
I didn't know it was poison ivy.
You prop him up against a tree.
Right.
Give him some poison berries. And
we'll be back. Give him a big stick.
Yeah, because we don't know.
Away any animals.
And don't eat those mushrooms over there.
Yeah, don't eat that.
They might be bad.
Here's some water.
Well, if you're starving, just have a bite and then see.
Eat bark. Bark seems to be good.
No, but for real, so we're going to run out of time. So real tools. Organize your day.
Yep. Oh, accumulation.
Yes, accumulation. Oh, start small. Declutter. What are the things that you can change?
Don't think of your whole kitchen. Think of one drawer.
Yes.
Don't think of the whole bathroom. Think of one bag of makeup. Don't think when you're looking at not your whole closet.
Yes, I'm only going to focus on the jeans today.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can get small wins. Celebrate your wins.
Yes, and then you accumulate victories.
Yes.
And we need to accumulate more victories.
Yes, we need to start loving ourselves better. Stop seeing the negative.
Love
celebrate,
ourselves more. I like that.
Celebrate you.
Aggressively kind yesterday. Aggressively loving today.
Yes. They also say, a lot of times we don't take that time when we get off of work. And people will say, oh, I use that time on my way home from work to decompress. Sitting in traffic is never a way to decompress.
No, it is not.
It is not. You should not use it for a transition. Just because, everybody else is getting off of work. Everybody wants to get home. So the traffic. And even listening to radio, listening to music, or listening to us is a great way to unwind and distract you. but actually don't use that as your physical time. Chris and I had started a while back, that when he first came home, I would not talk to him until he came, go take a shower, go for a walk, go sit out by the pool for a little bit, do whatever, because men and women operate very differently. And a lot of times when I see him, I'm like, oh, I'm going to give you the meta report. Let me tell you about my day. I did this, blah, 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 blah. And then so he's not ready to receive that either. So being aware and also setting boundaries. One of the boundaries that we put in place, no work after 6:30. In being able to, especially in real estate, that's got to be really hard. It's really hard. A lot of businesses, even entrepreneurs, don't have the time. And so they think that they run around the clock. If you don't set your boundaries, if you don't honor your time, no one else is.
Very true. And we will leave you with silent gratitude isn't very much to anyone. Make sure the people in your life know that you love them and that you appreciate them, and go have fun this weekend.
Have a great weekend.
You're listening to Lisa and Robyn on the mic on WSMN 1590 AM, 95.3 FM, and you can watch, stream, and listen every Thursday live from 10 to noon. We're out. We'll see you next week.
And we're out.
WSMN 1590, WSMN 95.3 FM Nashua. Listen, watch, and stream at WSMN.live.
USA News Update. Israel anticipated to launch an invasion of Rafah, the largest refugee camp in Gaza for displaced Palestinians. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has instructed the military to ready for civilian evacuations in the city. President Biden responding to a Department of Justice report that cites lapses in memory noted by special counsel investigators who had interviewed him earlier about classified documents.
I'm well-meaning, and I'm an elderly man, and I know what the hell I'm doing. I've been president. I put this country back on its feet. I don't need his recommendation.
In their report, the officials said the president appeared to have a difficult time recalling the timeline of his son Beau's death and didn't recall his time as vice president very well either. The combination of Midwest, tornadoes, and February is unusual, but this week breaks the norm. Severe storms led to the issuance of the first ever February tornado warnings in Wisconsin on Thursday. John Schaefer, USA News.
I am a non-attorney spokesperson representing a team of lawyers who help people that have been injured or wronged. If you've been involved in a serious car, truck, or motorcycle accident or injured at work, you have rights, and you may be entitled to money for your suffering. Don't accept an offer you get from an insurance company until you talk to a lawyer. And we represent some of the best personal injury lawyers you can find. Tough lawyers that will fight to win your case. And they're so good they stake their reputation on it by only getting paid if you win. So if you've been in a